Today we're talking about one of the European Union countries, member states, which is the Slovak Republic. Its population is 5.4 million people. The capital city is Bratislava. Oftentimes, Slovakia is confused with Slovenia. Remember that Slovakia is the part of the previously known Czechoslovakia, whereas Slovenia is a part of the previously known Yugoslavia. We have mountains. The capital city is Bratislava. The major regions of the country are Bratislava, Trnavska, Trečinska, Nitranska, Košicka, Prešovska, Banska, Bitska, and Žilinska. I live in the Košicka region. Slovakia is a part of the EU, Eurozone, and all the other types of zones. We are 1 hour ahead of GMT. We are a parliamentary republic. The official language is Slovakian. Slovakia is surrounded by Poland and Czech Republic, Austria, Ukraine, and Hungary. Consider the Slovakia's location with regards to Ukraine, and if you do so, you'll see that Slovakia is in the center of Eastern Europe. It's situated on the crossroads of main routes from south to north, from west to east. And whereas previously Slovakia had problems with roads, right now Slovakia has lifted the problem. They have built beautiful trunk roads. If you transport any cargo from Ukraine or Poland, you can transport your cargo through Hungary, Italy, and Austria. So Slovakia is ready to offer its clients a very effective and high quality service, logistical service, having to do with storehouses and processing of goods, etc. Yesterday, I decided to replace the table of distances with the table of time that it requires to travel. If you travel from Vienna, Austria, it will take you 50 minutes. From Budapest, Hungary, 1.5 hours. From Prague, 3.5 hours. From Warsaw, 6.5 hours. From Berlin, 6.5 hours. Munich, 4.5 hours. Zagreb, 4.5 hours. Milano, 9 hours. And Venetia, 7 hours. I think it's a beautiful time to considering the distance from Slovakia to all of these destinations. It will allow you to, if you get the permanent residence, it will allow you to travel through the European Union member states after the quarantine and pandemic is over. Slovakia as a country and Slovakia as a market is not very attractive in terms of a market, and the number of population here is 5.5 million people. But from Slovakia, you can get an access to all the European Union member states, which is 350 million potential buyers and customers. So if you have your permanent residence in Slovakia, you can interact and do business with any country of the European Union visa-free and without having to pay any duties. The country is the EU member state since 2004. Poland, Czech Republic, Slovakia, and Hungary are the best countries of Visegrad group. Partly, the country is
рабочей силы не хватает. Отсюда
the cost for labor, the labor cost here in Slovakia is relatively low as compared to the highly qualified labor force in other countries. 590 euros is the lowest salary or wage in Slovakia. You asked me to interrupt you, I just did. Since I only have 30 minutes worth of presentation, Ivanka knows that I can talk about it for 2 and 3 hours in a row on end. So I'm going to try to congest my presentation. Let's talk about the procedure of acquiring permanent resident status. There is a law in Slovakia that is regulating the residence permit based upon the registration of a legal entity or registration of the person's registration as the private entrepreneur, including the investment programs and family programs. Based upon these programs, you can immediately get permanent residency. This is regulated by the law 404 of 2011. The term of it only takes 4 to 5 months to obtain residence permit, and you can be an individual entrepreneur. The table is pointing out the comparison of different forms, different approaches to get the residence permit. In case with the legal entity, you have to invest 22,000 euros. If you're an individual entrepreneur, you'll have to pay 3.7 thousand euros. The tax rate is 21%, which is the base rate. There's another 15% tax rate given your business turnover is under 100,000 euros, and the minimum the minimum revenue in case with legal entities 13,600 euros, and in case with the individual entrepreneur it's 4.2 thousand euros. The founder's liability is limited by the authorized fund, whereas the liability of the entrepreneur is limited to their entire assets. As for the list of papers and documents, it's quite standard when it comes to the countries of the EU. You need to submit your passport, the certificate testifying to the fact that you have not been convicted. In case if somebody well, we had an experience, a previous experience whereby um, we got the certificate of no conviction in terms of the track record, and then when we began to inquire about the nature of conviction, it had a political nature, and the police said that it will not be a problem. Also, there's the rest of the list of documents. Also, Slovakia has a requirement to provide people living in the territory of the country with real estate. In case with the rental area, we're talking about 15 square meters plus 8 square meters per 15 square meters per the main applicant, square meters, additional 8 square meters for every dependent applicant. But we cannot register 10 to 15 to 20 people at the same address. That will be deemed as the violation of the legislation. As for the family programs, we're talking about the family reunion, whereby foreigners can get the residence permit and to do it you need to submit a number of documents to the police to testify to your marital status. You need to submit your national passport, your foreign passport, the certificate of birth, certificate of marriage, and also children above 18 years of age cannot get residence permit based upon the family reunion program. They have to either apply as individual entrepreneurs or they need to get permanent residency. Slovakia also has another requirement allowing to get the permanent residency, whereas we were only talking about the residence permit based upon the entrepreneurial activity. Slovakia allows for one can make investments, 100,000 euros worth of investment in the priority assets for Slovakian economy. And if we do invest in these assets, we can get the permanent residency in Slovakia. And this information can be interesting for the people that have this kind of resources. Here's the question. Right away, people are asking whether investments in the residential and non-residential real estate or commercial real estate, which one do you mean? Investment in the real estate as the opportunity to get a permanent residence. Is that the question? No. The question is the question is correct. In Slovakia, there is no investment in real estate program in Slovakia as a way to get the permanent residency. You either need to become a director of a company or you have to invest in priority assets, and that's how you can get your permanent residency. The residence permit cannot be acquired as a result of investing in any type of real estate. This is impossible.
То есть мы говорим о временном виде на жительстве, и еще можно получить постоянный вид на жительство.
We're talking about we're talking about residence permit, and we're also talking about the permanent residency. How much time does it take? There are several programs in Slovakia implying infrastructural assets and objects in Slovakia, which the government of Slovakia has called the priority investment objects. If you invest 800,000 euros in these objects and assets, you will get the permanent residency. How much does it cost? Once again, 300,000 euros. It's about 300,000 euros. As well, for the most part, we're talking about logistical assets, logistical centers. There's a project like that in nearby Bratislava, and if somebody invests 300,000 euros, they will get a residence permit, a 5-year residence permit. But we're talking about the list of priority objects, the so-called priority objects. The logistical center is the commercial real estate. If you invest in that commercial real estate, you eventually will get a part of it as your property through the rental contract, and the owner of this share of real estate will get a regular revenue from the revenues are within 5 to 7%, because the commercial real estate returns are never exceeding 10%. This is the standard EU rate of return. Is there a minimum investment program? There is no minimum investment programs to invest if somebody wants to get the residence permit. But if you invest 300,000 euros, you can get the permanent residency right away. That's right. People are asking also if they can purchase real estate and do nothing. Actually, this option will cost people more than...
Вся эта процедура с ВНЖ, ПМЖ, с оплатой налогов, доходов, она будет стоить...
If you go by way of obtaining the residence permit, and then in 5 years down the road, if you get the permanent residency with all the fees and duties that you'll have to pay, it will be much less costly for you than if you invest 300,000 euros directly into an asset or an object, priority asset. You were talking about the logistical center. What else can you say, Vadym? Slovakia. In accordance with the calculations of the Slovakian Real Estate Academy, the country has about 200,000. It has a deficiency of 200,000 units of resident buildings, and which means that the amount of
последние 10 лет наблюдается стабильный.
housing real estate is deficient, and that's why it is the cost of housing real estate residence buildings is increasing at the rate of 10 to 11% per year per annum. The amount of residential buildings built in Slovakia is too small, and
на такое жилье присутствует постоянный, и он постоянно
the
растет.
demand for such residence housing is constantly increasing.
В этом городе реализовывается
Well, every city has its own master plan of construction and development, but I would like to say that whichever city you consider, the amount of residence development, the amount of residence buildings developed is deficient. That's why the cost of residence real estate, living real estate is increasing. No, and also I'd like to say once again that if you cannot purchase the housing and to obtain the citizenship, how much does it cost in Bratislava? The two-bedroom apartment in Bratislava will, in average, cost. Well, people are talking about the rental cost, including the quality of that housing and infrastructure, and whether or not it is situated in the city center. It's 500 to 700 or 800 euros per month, depending on its quality, where it is located, and what is it surrounded by. Thank you very much. People are also asking. She says that she did not understand whether it is citizenship through business or investment. Can you get Slovakian citizenship altogether? It's a beautiful question. One can obtain their citizenship in 10 years after they get the initial residence permit. According to the law, you need to you need to first get the 5-year residence permit, then 5-year permanent residency, then you have to pass the Slovakian language exam, and then you get the citizenship. We have a lot of questions. Just like I'd like to, well, we have a lot of questions for you, as well as lots of questions about Montenegro, and I'd like to discuss them all somehow. To keep the timetable, let's do it as follows. My presentation will be made accessible by the organizers of the event. There's contact info. Yes, you can keep in touch with me, asking your questions, and I'll be happy to answer all of your questions. Please don't go away. We still have questions about the investment risks and how much will it cost to set up a company. Yes, these questions are interesting ones. Lately, I began to get some questions about the registration, company registration from Algeria and France. And it's good that the questions are in English. That makes me understand that Slovakia is an interesting country. Thank you very much, Ivana. I would like to understand once again. Please don't go away. What can we get in Slovakia? is what can we get through registering our company? What kind of budget do we need to have to set up a company?
Там, где какой уставный фонд должен быть,
Да,
какие
да, да, да.
налоги, а вот какой бюджет на компанию, чтобы можно было...
Well, we have seen the authorized charter fund, related information, etc. What kind of budget should you possess, and how do you position yourself as? Are you a shareholder or the founder? Both shareholders and founders can have the right to get the residence permit, as they have to stay in Slovakia for some time, and to do it, they need to reside in Slovakia. Well, do you need an additional director from another EU member state or elsewhere? Well, there are different options to take. If we directly register a company, we can designate an interested person as the director, but they will get the status of the director only. They will not get the status of the director until after they receive they acquire the residence permit there. To avoid this situation, we assign a resident of Slovakia as the director of the company for some time, and then we lodge the application with the police to obtain the residence permit for the future director. And once they become get the residence permit, we replace the old director with the new director. This mode of registration is quite popular. This allows you to get the residence permit via the director's status function. Once again, I'd like to say that only a director can get the residence permit. The number of directors is not limited with the company. You can have 1 or 10 directors with one and same legal entity, and the budget of that company will depend on the number of directors it has, whether or not they have family members, and the charter fund of the company. We're talking about the basic amount is 3,000 euros. Thank you very much. I'd like to remind all of us that we are not bidding Vadym farewell, because some of the participants are writing in more questions, and we will have the Q&A session. Here's another interesting question: what are the investment risks when it comes to investing in Slovakian real estate? I don't think that the real estate investment risks in Slovakia are any different from investment in real estate of Spain, Russia, Montenegro, or any other country. I approach this issue in a simple way. Some textbooks are saying that there are only 3 rules to successfully invest in real estate. It's location, location, and once again location. If we select real estate in the city center and it is of good quality, it will be quite liquid. It will constantly increase in its value. And of course, the investment risks in this particular case will be very low. In the past 10 years, the real estate market of Slovakia is growing at the rate of 8 to 12% per annum. Smaller towns, of course, have a lower rate of increase, the larger cities like Bratislava are increasing at the rate of 10 to 12% per annum. Excuse me, I have just interrupted you. I just wanted to conclude by saying that real estate has always been demanded for. People always need to live somewhere, and people always want to live closer to the city center. And of course, those who live in the city center will get more advantages as compared to those living in suburbs. Well, we have
Мы говорили о
had Vadym Polyakov from Slovakia.